I am a Border Patrol agent. I'm active. I just did a shift in the field on Friday night, midnight shift. Patrolled the border, caught a lot of people, watched them walk right out our door. Saw it. I understand from Europe, is that right? You're from Europe? You know, November 2nd, 2016, I met with a large contingent of the European Parliament, the hard right European Parliament. That was election day where Trump won the election. Can I get a first clap? Oh, by the way, are there anybody in here named Brandon? Any Brandons? It's a good time to be named Brandon. But anyway, because I am an active Border Patrol agent, because I do actually go out and patrol the border, I want to tell you that we're in very good hands. We're in such good hands, I got a great story for you. Really good friend of mine, Samantha, we'll call her Samantha. Well, we'll call her that because her name is Samantha. But she was in the process for the CIA. Extremely intelligent individual, extremely. And to get into the CIA, you have to be intelligent. Anybody that's been in law enforcement before, you know that if during the interview process, you go through a panel in which they ask you a battery of questions, and you have to answer these questions. But before you get there, you have to go through a series of tests, physical, mental. You got to do an awful lot of things just to get there. That's the last step. Well, she killed everything. She killed everything. Came down to the last part, which was the interview before a panel. And she was competing against a DEA agent and an FBI agent. The FBI agent was first up with the panel, and the FBI agent went into the panel, and I mean, he killed the interview, absolutely killed the interview. Every single scenario, every single question, he knocked it out of the park. Well, the last question that they asked him was, will you do anything and everything that the CIA needs you to do? Important question. Especially for the CIA. The guy said, yeah, I can do that. They put a gun on the table, said, your wife's in the next room. You know what we want you to do. He looked at me and says, I can't do that. They said, well, you're not material, not CIA material. Well, the DEA agent was next. Same thing, knocked it out of the park. All the questions, did great. Did absolutely great. Last question, will you do anything and everything that the CIA needs you to do? He said, yeah, absolutely. Put a gun on the table, said, your wife's in the next room. You know what we want you to do. He picked up the gun, took a couple steps, looked and says, I can't do that. I said, we're sorry, you're not CIA material. My friend Samantha, she comes walking in, same thing, knocked the questions out of the park, everything, just nailed them. Well, last question, will you do anything and everything the CIA wants you to do? And she said, yeah, I'll do that. Put a gun on the table, said, your husband's in the next room. You know what we want you to do. Without hesitation. She picked up the gun, marched into the next room. Next thing, the panel, they hear a bunch of yelling, screaming, chairs hitting the wall, breaking. After about 10 minutes, she walks back out, and she's profusely sweating. She said, the gun was empty. I had to strangle the bastard. You're in good hands. I promise. I'm not here speaking as a federal employee. I'm not here speaking as an FBI agent. I'm here speaking as the president of the National Border Patrol Council. That is the union, boo, but law enforcement is a little bit different. But that is the union that represents agents. We boast the highest voluntary membership rate in the entire federal government. 90% of all eligible Border Patrol agents are voluntary dues-paying members of the National Border Patrol Council. So we do a good job. We do a good job for our agents. We look at all of the different things and how we need to get better. My job, my main job, is to look at policy. What do we need to do to make the border more secure? By a show of hands, everybody know what the catch and release program is? Come on, show me the hands. Show me the hands. I'm on Fox News talking about it all the time. You need to watch Fox News a little bit more. All those that did not show their hands. I have Newsmax, News Nation as well. Believe it or not, I get on CNN every now and then. Every now and then. Not often, but every now and then. The catch and release program, what most people do not understand and what they do not recognize is that when we take somebody in custody and we release them with that NTA, notice to appear, or NTR, notice to report, when we release them, when we walk them out our front door, we literally call it that. We call it walking them out our front door. When we walk them out our front door, even though they cross the border illegally, we give them a de facto legal status to be here until their court date. And that court date will normally be about 2 or 3 years down the road. Europe does a much better job than what we do when it comes to this issue. Israel does the best job when it comes to this issue. What we do is we walk them out our front door, we give them that de facto legal status. With that legal status, they can now go get work permits, they can get driver's licenses, they can put their children in school, they can receive all of the public benefits that anybody that's here legally can receive, and they can receive most of the public benefits that a United States citizen can receive. That's the magnet. That's what draws so many people to cross our borders illegally. It's an invitation. As long as we continue to release people, as long as we do not provide a consequence for violating the law, people will continue to come. It's been proven over and over and over again. As a young agent in El Centro, California, what we saw a lot of was Brazilians that were coming to our borders. We would catch them, we would release them. The moment we released the first person, we saw a bunch more. Now, what they would do was they would test the waters, and they would go to certain locations on the border and find out, where are we being released? And once they found that out, they would hit us hard in those areas until we stopped releasing them. Then they would move on until we stopped doing it across the board. Then they stopped coming. What we have seen is you must hold people in custody pending their deportation or asylum proceeding. Once you do that, the magnet gets cut off and people stop crossing our borders illegally. We saw that in 2019. Jonathan with Athos is doing a great job putting this conference on. Thank you. But Jonathan worked in the White House under the Trump administration and with the DOJ, correct? Is that correct, Jonathan? With the DOJ. So Jonathan saw this firsthand. But what we saw, and in my conversations with President Trump, it was that. You must cut that magnet off. So he came up with the policy that's known as the Migrant Protection Protocols. Now, what most people don't know is President Trump had a harder time in 2019 with illegal immigration than President Obama did in any one of his 8 years. We were arresting more people than in any given month than what President Obama did in any one of his months in 2019. And it's funny, because right when he took office, we saw illegal immigration drop to 45-year lows. And it was based upon the promise that you would be held in custody and that there would be a consequence. The problem with that is it required congressional approval. You had to change the laws. Congress refused to do that. So we saw an explosion in illegal immigration when the cartels figured out they're not holding anybody. That promise that President Trump gave, it's not coming through. They were then able to go in and advertise their products throughout the world. Now, we can't compare what's happening right now on the border to what happened at the beginning of my career in 1997. Does anybody know what the population was of the people that we were arresting back in 1997, or even through the mid-2010, up to 2010? Where were the people coming from that we were arresting? Anybody? What's that? Mexico. 95% of the people that we were arresting were coming from Mexico. Today, in Yuma, Arizona alone, we arrested people from Uzbekistan, Bangladesh, Cambodia, Senegal. We were arresting people of China, Russia, Romania. We are arresting people from around the world right now. And that's simply because cartels are now able to go throughout the world and advertise their products based upon our policies. Our policies are allowing criminal cartels to generate hundreds of millions of dollars every single month. I'm going to use a conservative figure. Henry Cuellar, at a convention that I spoke with him at, with Senator Cornyn, at Texas A&M University, he said that the average illegal immigrant is paying $4,000 to the cartels to be smuggled to the border. $4,000. Now, that's a very low number, and he's talking about people from Mexico and Central America. If we make 100,000 different arrests of different people, that's $400 million on the low end, $400 million every month that criminal cartels are generating in illegal immigration, human trafficking. This does not count for the drugs. Illegal immigration alone, a minimum of $400 million. Then you look at China. For somebody coming from China, they're paying anywhere between $35,000 to $50,000. Now, I've got a good job. I imagine most of you in here have pretty good jobs. I don't have $30,000 or $50,000 just laying around to pay to a cartel. So where'd they come up with the money from? Anybody?
CCP.
What's that?
CCP.
CCP? Help me out.
Oh, the Chinese government.
Okay, nope. Definitely not the Chinese government. Promise you it's not.
Trafficking.
What's that? Trafficking, what? Talk to me. What do you mean? Okay. They come here and they go into indentured servitude. That's what's happening. There are sweatshops that exist in the United States as we speak. Greatest country in the world, and we have sweatshops here in the United States. These people don't have the money to put up front. Therefore, they go into indentured servitude. It's the modern day slavery. That's what's happening. And it's based upon liberal policies. It's the root. When Vice President Kamala Harris talks about the root causes, I would challenge anybody to name one of those root causes that has not existed for the last 30 years. They've always been around. We cannot go into another country and tell them what their policies are going to be. We saw that in Afghanistan. Do we need to learn that over and over and over again? What we can do is we can affect what happens here in the United States. I get asked all the time by congressmen, what do we need to do? Senator Cruz was just here speaking, I believe. Unfortunately, American Airlines didn't get in on time. Y'all sick of the masks? You guys tired of this whole COVID pandemic? Airlines being shut down? Yeah, liberal policies. That's Biden's America. Good for us. All y'all who voted for Biden, we won't go there. But she talks about the root causes. The simple fact remains, there's one root cause that invites people to cross the border illegally, and that is the catch and release program. The moment we shut that off, going back to Trump, the moment he implemented the migrant protection protocols, or you had to stay in Mexico pending your asylum or deportation hearing here in the United States, it was like a light switch. Illegal immigration stopped immediately, dropped again to 45-year lows. He's the only president that I know of that has dropped illegal immigration to 45-year lows twice in his presidency. First was based on rhetoric, the promise that you would be held. It didn't happen. Illegal immigration exploded. Then he implemented the policies and programs. Now we have to look at the why. Why? Why would liberals allow this to happen? I'm going to take you back to October 7th of 2016. Anybody remember that date, October 7th, 2016? What happened? What happened on October 7th? It almost killed his campaign. It almost completely ended. Access Hollywood. Thank you very much. That is a smart individual. Stand up. Young and smart. Actually, might be even halfway good looking, maybe. If you're into that. I'm comfortable in my manlyhood. Good looking guy right there. Access Hollywood. On October 6th, I got a call from his campaign saying, hey, Brandon, President Trump, at that time, Candidate Trump wants to meet you in Trump Towers. You need to be up there tomorrow. I'm like, I can't. I'm in the middle of Montana. Anybody know Montana? There's not a whole lot there. Not a whole lot of red-eye flights. He said, nope, got to be tomorrow. Has to be tomorrow. He says, and bring a couple of your guys as well. All right, so I called up a couple of my guys in Texas, Arizona. He's a little bit easier. Well, I did happen to jump on a red-eye flight, landed, ran straight over to Trump Towers. Ran straight over. I have never seen him so somber before. Never. This was October 7th in the morning. Never seen him so somber. Well, media comes in, had a press conference. I'm sitting right directly to his left, and he gave the mic over to me first, walked through illegal immigration, why his policies were the best, why we were supporting President Trump because his policies were by far the best. He then looks at Art Del Cueto to his right, and he says, why are they coming? Why are people coming? And Art gives a song and a dance, and he says, no, that's not why they're coming. Why are they coming? Art then gives a song and a dance. He says, no, they're coming to vote. They're coming here to vote. And Art fell into it and says, yes, they're coming here to vote. You heard it right here, the experts, they're coming here to vote, they're coming here to vote. My phone starts blowing up immediately. Every single media outlet you can think of is saying, proof, where's the proof? Give me the proof, give me the proof. I have never, this is the first time I have ever publicly said, it is true. And the reason why I'm going to say that now is 2 and 2 always equals 4. Never equals 3, never equals 5. It always equals 4. What else could be the reason? Why would the hard left want illegal immigration? Why would the hard left want open borders? What is the only other reason than to drum up the voter base? I can't think of any other reason. And so when you use a little bit of, I'm going to say common sense, it's not common. I should say uncommon sense. So if we use a little bit of uncommon sense, the only conclusion that you can draw is that's the reason. I don't need proof. I just need the empirical data, which clearly shows that that must be the reason why they want open borders. If we want to secure our border, and we can do it, I get asked all the time by congressmen, Senator Ted Cruz being one of them, what do we need? Do we need more infrastructure? Do we need more manpower? Do we need more technology? I will tell him no every single time. Being conservatives, I'm sure you guys do not like forking over your money to the government. I don't. We don't have to add those things. What we need is policy, and it doesn't cost the American public a cent, not 1 cent. We can control illegal immigration through policy. As long as that policy is right, the MPP proved that. And when we stop illegal immigration, then people like myself, we can then go after the criminal cartels. We can go after the drugs. We can stop those drugs from coming into the country and killing all of our children. We can control it, and it needs to be done through policy, not through more taxpayer money for other programs that just have not worked in the past. Thank you very much.